Good morning. It is Wednesday, the 5th of April, and it is fairly early for me to be starting to record my vlog. Dammy is sitting there in the background doing her homeschool. I haven't even had my coffee yet, but I promised y'all yesterday, today you are going to learn about how we podcast. So, here we go. So the very first thing I do is when I'm getting ready to start doing our Wednesday routine of podcasting is I look at our Asana, which is where we keep all of our info about everything we do for podcasting. So Dammy and I work for Java Pearl Designs and Geeky Girls Knit, and we also have a virtual assistant named Deb. Hi Deb, if you're watching, who helps us with social media and newsletters and marketing and everything. So the first thing I do is I check my list to see what has to happen, and I get started on it. So the next thing that I do is I go through our show notes. So Dammy and I have a Google Doc that we share that we just go in and update every week with the information that we need. Sorry about that. So like I've just added in some new people who introduce themselves in the group to mention. We have our knitting projects, which I need to update because I finished something. We have Yummies, what we're reading, watching, and listening to. We have our cow information, scrolling fast so you didn't see the winners. We have Ask the Geeky Girls, and we have Miscellaneous. And that is what's on the docket for today's podcast. The next thing I do is I open iMovie on our Mac Mini because it has more processing power than my laptop does. And so our format for the podcast is the same basic format every week with the same segments and everything. So since I set this up once, now all I have to do is go in and drop in the video and edit the video. I don't have to like mess with the music and the segment slides and all that every week. So I am going to get as much of the editing done as I can before we record so that then it truly is just drop in and editing the video when we're done. Okay, so the next step is then to log into Blogger where we do our website hosting stuff. And I am going to create the new post for episode 237. So now the next thing is to get an email ready for our $15 and higher Patreon donors because they get access to the podcast early, as well as getting Ravelry posts ready for tomorrow, including the people we're going to answer their Ask the Geeky Girls question because two people had very similar questions, so we're going to answer them both together. So I get all of that ready to go so that it's really easy to post those tomorrow when the podcast goes live. This is take 2 because we didn't realize that Dammy had secret yarn on the arm of the couch, and it was in the video. So this is our podcast recording setup. We have Dammy's laptop with the show notes on it, water because we need water. We have project bags with projects. Dammy has her project bag. She's got the iPad, which she's about to put into the tripod for us to record with. And then we have the shelf behind us, which is where the second shelf has like stuff for the podcast, and the top shelf has my stash. Okay, it's time to record. And this is looking out. This is what we see when we're recording. Dammy's fixing her hair because that's what iPads are for, right? And there's the show notes, and we are about to get started. Here we go. Once we're done recording the videos, we use this app called Wi-Fi Photo to download all the videos onto the computer so that I can put them into iPad. I also use a website called iPiccy.com, IPICCY.com, to create the social media image for the podcast and also the title card for the podcast. Alright, so I've imported all of the video segments into iMovie, and now I'm going to start editing them into the podcast template. Okay, I have finished editing the podcast, so I am now going to start it rendering. One more step done. So while the podcast is rendering, I am going to update our Google Docs show notes so that it's ready for next week's podcast so that we can add stuff as it happens. So the video has finished rendering, and so now, and I've checked it and it plays fine, so now I have put it into Handbrake to reduce the size of it so that it's not a massive file for you to download, especially if you get your episodes via iTunes. That's the next step. So now the podcast has started uploading on YouTube, and when that finishes, I will upload it onto our iTunes host. And that's it until tomorrow when I make the YouTube video public and I publish the show notes and the iTunes link. And that is how we podcast. I hope this was interesting to y'all and that it helped you understand our process. I probably spend, all told, probably 15 to 20, probably around 15 hours a week doing podcast stuff. And probably 2/3 of that is what happens today and tomorrow with recording, editing show notes, editing, uploading, and all that jazz, and then making everything live tomorrow. So it is pretty much a part-time job. So, but we love doing it and love sharing it with y'all. All right, I'm gonna go so I can get stuff finished and get this vlog out to y'all. Hope you've had a great Wednesday, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'm gonna talk about yet, but I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.